Hello, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're re-diving deep into one of the most chilling and enduring maritime mysteries of all time. The disappearance of the 3 lighthouse keepers of the Flannan Isles. Grab a warm drink, because this story will send a shiver down your spine. Picture this. It's the day after Christmas, 1900. A relief ship, the Hesperus, is making its way to the remote Flannan Isles, a rugged cluster of islands off the west coast of Scotland. Its mission is to relieve the 3 keepers stationed at the Lighthouse, Thomas Marshall, James Duquette, and Donald MacArthur. As the Hesperus approached, Captain Jim Harvey felt a sense of unease. The lighthouse was dark, no welcoming light cut through the gloom. No flag was flying from the pole, which was standard procedure. They sounded the ship's horn and fired a flare, hoping for a response. But there was only silence, a deep, unsettling silence that hung heavy in the salty air. Unable to dock due to the rough seas, they had to wait until the next day. December 26th, finally, a relief keeper, Joseph Moore, was able to row ashore. What he found inside the lighthouse would baffle investigators for over a century. The first thing Moore noticed was the eerie quiet. The front door was unlocked. Inside the entrance hall, 2 of the 3 oilskin coats were missing. Donald MacArthur, James Duquette, ... that their gear was gone. But Thomas Marshall's was still hanging on its hook. Why would one man venture out into a fierce Atlantic storm without his protective gear? It made no sense. Moore continued his search, his footsteps echoing in the silent tower. He entered the kitchen, and the scene became even stranger. A meal, as if recently prepared, sat half-eaten on the table. A single chair was overturned, as if someone had jumped up from their meal in a great hurry. The clocks had all stopped. The entire place felt frozen in time, abandoned in an instant. He climbed the winding stairs to the lamp room. The lamps were clean and refilled with oil, ready to be lit. Everything was in order, except for the most important thing, the keepers themselves. They had vanished. Joseph Moore, alone in the silent, empty lighthouse, was understandably terrified. He rushed back to the boat to report his findings to Captain Harvey. A more thorough search was immediately organized. The entire island was scoured. Every nook, every cranny was inspected, but there was nothing. No bodies, no signs of a struggle, no clues left behind. It was as if the 3 experienced keepers had simply been erased from existence. The only physical evidence of anything unusual was found on the west landing, a platform high above the sea. There, the search party discovered signs of significant storm damage. A supply box had been smashed, its contents strewn about. Iron railings were bent and twisted out of shape. A massive block of stone, weighing over a ton, had been dislodged, and a rope lay coiled on the rocks, suggesting it might have been used in some kind of desperate rescue attempt. The official logbook was found inside the lighthouse, adding another layer to the mystery. The entries were strange and cryptic. Keeper Thomas Marshall wrote about an intense storm, the likes of which he'd never seen in 20 years. He described James Duquette as being very quiet, and Donald MacArthur, a notoriously tough former soldier, as crying. Why would a seasoned mariner like MacArthur be crying over a storm? The final entry, written on December 15th, was chillingly simple. Storm ended. sea calm. God is over all. But weather reports for the area showed no storms on those dates. The weather was calm. So, what storm were they talking about? So, what happened to them? The official explanation, concluded by the Northern Lighthouse Board's superintendent, Robert Muirhead, was that the men were swept away by a freak wave. The theory goes that 2 of the keepers went down to the West Landing to secure equipment during a sudden, violent storm. When they didn't return, the 3rd keeper, Marshall, ran out to help them, forgetting his oilskins in his haste. Then, a massive, rogue wave crashed over the landing, washing all 3 men into the churning Atlantic. This theory neatly explains the overturned chair, the unfinished meal, and the single set of oilskins left behind. It also accounts for the damage on the West Landing. It's a plausible, rational explanation for a seemingly impossible event. Rogue waves are terrifyingly real and can appear without warning, even in otherwise calm seas. But for many, this explanation just doesn't sit right. It feels too simple, too clean. And it's here that the theories begin to diverge into the realms of speculation and folklore. One popular theory suggests a more human drama. What if there was an argument, a fight that got out of hand? Perhaps one keeper was driven mad by the isolation and attacked the others. The overturned chair could be evidence of a sudden burst of violence. Maybe one man was thrown into the sea and the others died trying to save him or themselves. But this doesn't explain why all 3 vanished without a trace, and with no signs of a struggle inside the lighthouse itself. It feels like a stretch. Then there are the more imaginative theories. The Flannan Isles have a long history of local superstitions. They were known as the 7 Hunters, and shepherds would never stay on the island overnight, believing it to be a place of strange and powerful entities. Some locals whispered that the men had been taken by the fairies or some other supernatural force that haunted the island. Had the men seen something they weren't supposed to see? Something that drove them from the safety of the lighthouse into their doom. This supernatural angle has been fueled by alleged discoveries that are, frankly, likely fictional but have become part of the legend. Stories emerged of a strange logbook entry describing a great bird-like creature or a ghostly longboat. These details, while adding to the spooky atmosphere, have never been substantiated and don't appear in the official reports. They are the stuff of campfire stories, not historical fact. Another, more modern theory points to secret government involvement. Could the keepers have witnessed something they shouldn't have? A secret military exercise, perhaps, or a foreign vessel on a clandestine mission. In this scenario, they were silenced to protect a state secret. It's a tantalizing idea, straight out of a spy thriller, but once again, there is absolutely zero evidence to support it. No records, no witnesses, no declassified documents. It remains pure speculation. So, where does that leave us? We're left with an enduring mystery, a locked room puzzle on a desolate island. We have 3 men who vanished from a secure lighthouse, leaving behind a half-eaten meal and a haunting silence. The most likely answer is the official one, a tragic, unfortunate accident involving the immense power of the ocean. A rogue wave, sudden and catastrophic. It's a sobering reminder of how vulnerable we are against the forces of nature. The sea gives, and the sea takes away. But the lack of bodies, The strange logbook entries and the sheer emptiness of the scene leave a sliver of doubt. It's that doubt that has kept this story alive for more than 120 years, inspiring poems, operas, and countless late-night discussions. What do you think happened at the Flannan Isles Lighthouse? Was it a freak wave, a moment of madness, or something else entirely? Let me know your theories in the comments below. I'd love to read what you think. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of history's greatest mysteries, please consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel for more stories like this one. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure. Until next time, stay curious.